Hi, I'm Nick Hill. I'm a retired faculty member from the University of Georgia. And while I was at the University of Georgia, we developed some technology that was useful for testing for these novel endophytes that are used by the seed companies that are part of the Alliance for Grassland Renewal. What I want to do today is show you how to sample pastures or hay fields so that you can submit them for diagnostics to determine whether or not you've got the novel endophyte. In most cases, you're going to have a toxic endophyte if you don't know the history of your field and haven't gone through the process of reestablishing with the novel endophyte tall fescue varieties. The process is simple, but it's also easy to mess up. So what I want to do today is show you how to do this. Okay, and let's start out by showing you the tools that are necessary in order to conduct a sampling procedure. The first thing you're going to need, or one of the things you're going to need, is an insulated styrofoam box. Okay, this is something that you're going to put your sample into and ship it to us. Okay, you're going to need a plastic bag that you're going to put your sample into. You want to identify, in this case, Spring Creek Farms, and this is a south pasture on Spring Creek Farms. So for every field that you're going to sample, you want to identify that, and you're going to put your sample into a plastic bag like this.
We included a submission form in another Ziploc bag. Fill the form with your contact details and other requested information as much as you can. Fold the submission form back and put it into the Ziploc bag.
We also want to have a knife that we're going to use to cut tall fescue stems with. We're going to have a paper towel that we're going to wet and we're going to put into the plastic bags. We have some water that we can use to wet the paper towel with, and then a cool pack or a freezer brick that we're going to put in our sample box or in our styrofoam box. So to sample a tiller, it's not a difficult process. I want to show you where we cut, and I want to explain to you where the endophyte is growing within the tall fescue plant. Now it's January, so the samples aren't maybe like you would find in August or in the fall of the year or later in the spring of the year, but it's still good enough that we can show you what a sample looks like. So here's an area, some tall fescue right in here. Okay, and we're going to come down here and we're going to find the very bottom portion of the plant, and we're going to cut it right at the soil surface. Okay, and you're going to get something that looks like this. This is called a tiller or a grass stem. Okay, we call them tillers, that's the scientific term. You want to take off any dead material that is there, but the endophyte does not grow in the leaf up here. It grows in the tiller base or the stem base down in here. And actually, the further down you get towards the soil surface, the higher the concentration of the endophyte is going to be inside that tall fescue plant. So we don't need the entire grass leaf blade and all that. We can just cut that off, and this is going to be what you want to send to us. Okay, and you will collect 30 of these over the course of a field, and I'll show you how we go about doing that. But I want to warn you that many times we have customers that are sending us samples, and what they do is they go into one spot in the field and they just harvest all the tillers from one location. That's not representative of the field. In many cases, what you're going to have is all these tillers belong to one plant. So you get an analysis for one plant and not over the entire course of the field. So let's go back and take a look at some schematics that I have put together so that you can get an idea of how you would want to go about and sample your pastures. This is just a representation of a field. Okay, here's the gate right here, the fence posts, and the wire around the outside of the field. you have kind of two options in going out and sampling a good representation of the field. Option number one would be to enter into the gate and walk around the field in a circle like this and sample as you go across this circle, so that you're getting representation of samples all throughout, okay? And you'll collect 30 samples, 30 tillers, 30 grass stem bases as you walk in this circle, okay? And that's what you want to do to get all 30 samples using that strategy. There's another strategy you can use, and it works pretty much the same. And instead of walking a circle, you walk in a zigzag across your field. And as you do that, okay, you sample your grass tillers as you go across the field. Okay, and once you get all your grass tillers put together, you bring them back to the edge, to your tailgate of your truck or back to your car, and we're going to get it ready for submission to the laboratory. Okay, so here we have our bag. We have just one of these as an example, but you would get 30 of these, and you put them inside your bag. My paper towel just blew away. Okay, you get your paper towel and you wet your paper towel. Okay, now we don't want to have a wet paper towel when we put it into this bag. That's going to keep the tillers moist. What we want to do is we want to squeeze as much of that water out of that paper towel so the paper towel is damp, but it's not wet. Okay, and this will help preserve the moisture inside the tiller. So we put that in there. We've got our 30 tillers in there.
Put the Ziploc bag with the submission form in the sample bag.
If you just have one sample, you can just put your identification in there with the sample, the tiller sample. Okay, you're going to put this into the styrofoam box along with the freezer brick. Cover that up, seal the box,
and put everything in the box and ship it to the Feed and Environmental Water Lab using the included overnight UPS shipping level. Please do not collect and ship the sample on Thursdays and Fridays.